Finally confirmed today, Maurizio Sarri is the new coach of Juventus. Do you think he'll be a success?
Well, it's interesting. I mean, you go on social media, there is so much negativity among Juventus fans, partly for his style of play, partly because he doesn't look the part, partly because of his past in Naples. I look at the team that he has, and I just wonder how these pieces fit together for a Maurizio Sarri style philosophy. From the center forward position, where presumably Cristiano Ronaldo is going to have to play center forward, to the fact that you have a bunch of older players in there. Are you going to get Matuidi and Aaron Ramsey to go and run around and do the work that N'Golo Kanté did last year? Are you going to get the center backs to go and play that defensive higher line, especially when they're older now? I'm not sure. I'm not sure how this is all going to work. I think he certainly has his work cut out for him.
Frank Lampard to replace him?
That seems to be, the impetus right now. There's also talk that Derby have offered him a new contract to try and get him to stay. No doubt Derby will want compensation. No question, Frank Lampard. And also we need to give a shout out to Jody Morris, of course, who was a former Chelsea youth coach and did really, really well. He's Lampard's assistant. He'll be coming in as well if they do come in. That seems to be the direction in which they're heading.
It's amazing how that, I call this the fan appeaser, the Lampard thing, a bit like Solskjaer to an extent. Solskjaer had much more experience, by the way, of managing than Frank did. Years more experience, years and years. It's amazing how fans, Chelsea fans or any fans, when a club appoints a manager and you criticise or don't agree with it, how they fix that bayonet and try and fight you off because you're against this club. Even though this manager hasn't got any real experience apart from 10 to 12 months at Derby, now he's gone into a very tricky situation, potentially, at Chelsea, with players going, with signing issues, with injuries to younger guys. And the thing I've heard on social media from some just reading is, well, is all the young guys are going to get a chance now. No, that's not necessarily the case, because it's still a results-driven business. And whilst that might be a nice sentiment, he'll know better than anybody, Stevie. At the end of the day, you want to be giving young guys a chance if they're good enough, but you've got to get results. And I don't see this anything else than trying to appease a section of the Chelsea support.
So it's a mistake?
Well,
you can't see that before he gets the job.
I mean,
right, you can't see that before he gets the job. But he doesn't have the experience. When you're the head coach, right, you probably spend more time dealing with things other than coaching on the field. There's no way Frank doesn't know his onions as far as X's and O's and tactics and all this stuff. But there's so much more goes into it than actually what you see on the field. It's dealing with players, making decisions, going about things the right way, and that comes with time and experience. And Frank doesn't have that. And most of all, Frank has no experience of dealing with what's going to happen with no signings. You've lost your best player. The guys you're going to be relying on in the future are not going to be joining the team because they're injured, the likes of Badoy. And if he starts the season losing, he's got no experience how to handle that. How's he going to handle that?
It's amazing how, and both, if you compare two guys going into big clubs, Solskjaer and Frank Lampard, they're both level-headed, intelligent, experienced football guys. But it's amazing the perception. Perception's incredible among supporters, and it almost clouds the bigger picture and sort of blindfolds them. If Solskjaer and Lampard, particularly Frank Lampard, if he had no Chelsea connection and had 1 year's managerial experience at Derby County, this would be derided.
Where they failed to get promotion.
Well, they did. It's been difficult for Derby, but ultimately they failed. But it was a decent, more than decent first season. But if there was no connection for that football club, this appointment would be derided. It's ridiculous. So it's a crazy notion that a lot of fans seem to have, is that because a guy played for a club, he understands the club.
What about the Chelsea fans who are screaming, but look, Pep Guardiola, he didn't have any coaching experience when he came in at Barcelona. What about Zinedine Zidane?
But he did. He did.
But
this is where we're
by the way, he also had a bunch of players who
That's the
who
difference,
hadn't reached the world-class status, but were a kick in the backside off it.
Right.
It makes a hell of a difference.
What was it? Zidane only, I think, made one signing in his first period or something like that. It might have been. The rest were already there, and he had to get them playing. Of course, he had to get them playing, and he had to get them all on his side. With my memory serves me right, with Guardiola, there was problems at Barcelona when he stepped up from coaching within the system. However, as Stevie mentioned, there was a whole bunch of players that were ready or not just about to come through, including one of the two greatest players of our generation. So that analogy, the analysis that a lot of people sort of throw, particularly when the Solskjaer appointment was made, is just not going to stand up to scrutiny.
If you were in charge of Chelsea,
I'd have looked long and wide.
would you have sacked Sarri knowing that Lampard was your only choice?
But they haven't. Would I have
Or would you have let Sarri go? Would you have agreed that deal for him to go to Juventus? Or would you have handcuffed him to Stamford Bridge and say, look, you're here, you're our coach, you've got a contract, you're staying here?
I don't. Maybe Gab will know better. I don't think anybody was really falling over themselves at Chelsea to keep.
Is that a mistake, given that Lampard is your seemingly only option?
Well, time will tell. The proof's going to be in the pudding. Maurizio Sarri did okay in there. He had success to an extent. Listen, I don't blame him whatsoever. I'd jump at getting that job, that Juventus job. It's an absolutely amazing opportunity for him. And I think with the problems at Chelsea, he's done well to get out. But, you know, for just to say Frank Lampard's our guy, you know, I find it a tough one to sell. I really do.
What would you have done, Stevie?
I would have kept Sarri, regardless.
Yeah.
What's the point of keeping a guy who doesn't want to be there, who's basically told you he doesn't want to be there? So you're going to have a guy who's a manager who's not particularly bothered. That makes no sense. That doesn't make any sense at all.
And Man United,
and Chelsea can't honestly have thought that Frank Lampard was going to be their only option anyway. I mean, you think they're going to look at the world. There are a lot of good coaches around the world, and whether it's a long-term appointment or a short-term appointment, they can get a good football coach.
Chelsea and Man United, it's amazing how the worm has turned, because, in my opinion, both of those clubs that we mentioned there, Man United and Chelsea, are nowhere near as attractive for some of these managers now as they were, you know, 10 years ago, 7, 8 years ago. They're attractive in terms of money, potentially, but in terms of on the field now, they're not as attractive to the top coaches as they were.